In the top of the fourth inning, runners on first and second for YD next on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. Still the top of the fourth inning on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. One out, runners on first and second for the Red Sox. That's the pickle that Trevor Kunsel inherits, a right-handed pitcher from George Washington coming in to relieve Mike Simoniello, who went 2 1/3 and so far hasn't given up a run, but both runners belong to him. One out for Zach Liu, a $156 on the year, 0 for 2 on the day. And a changeup settles low for ball one. Now Kunsel with a 3.11 ERA. This is his 6th appearance. 1 ball, no strikes. The infield is pinched in. Just a smidge. Waiting for a Liu bunt and doesn't offer there. 2 balls, no strikes on the changeup outside again. Now Kunsel's last appearance came on August 1st. So just 1 day of rest for the righty. It was in a 12-9 win against Falmouth. He's working from the stretch. He steps off to get some new signs for Matthew Donlin. In that appearance, when an inning and a third gave up 3 runs, only 1 earned. There's a fastball for a strike. Right down the middle, it looked like Zach Liu was just waiting for Kunsel to throw a strike. And that makes sense. Definitely a pitcher who's known to walk a batter or 2. In fact, he has issued a walk in his last 3 outings. Ground ball sharply hit left side, and a nice stop by Trice diving to his left and getting the runner at third. Cody Huff running on contact. He had no choice. It was a foot race to the bag and stomps on the pillow for the force. Well, Huff doesn't run extremely well, and that ball was sharply hit. The only reason it was a tough play for Trice is because he was forced to basically pull way off the bag with the ground ball hit closer to short than third. And now the lefty Cade Hunter. 1 ball, no strikes on the changeup outside. With 2 outs and runners on first and second. Chase Luttrell on second, Zach Liu on first, and Cade Hunter drives that one to right field, slicing down the line, and Noah Bridges settles under it to make the catch. Straddling the right field line, side retired. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left on. And in the middle of the fourth, YD and Cotuit tied at 5 apiece right here on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. Top of the fourth inning on the windy Red Sox Baseball Network, tied at 5 apiece between the Red Sox and the Cavaliers. Zach Jacobs still working for the Sox. A lot of people might be surprised by that. Did give up 5 runs in the second inning, only 2 of them earned though. 4 hits and 3 walks in that frame. First pitch swinging on the fastball, and down the left field line goes Carter Trice. He rounds first, he's into second, standing up. 1 pitch and a double for Carter Trice to start off the fourth. That snaps an 1 for 22 skid for Carter Trice. And a long day at the office continues for the UC Riverside righty. Zach Jacobs has now thrown 73 pitches in 3+ innings. Runner on second base and a bounce breaking ball in the dirt to Ryan Ritter, who hit into an infield single his last time up in the second. That now puts Ritter on an 11-game hit streak. Cotuit 5, YD 5, top of the fourth inning, bottom of the fourth inning. Carter Trice, a sophomore from Old Dominion, taking an aggressive lead off of second base. Zach Jacobs from the stretch. Curveball and a big swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike to Ryan Ritter. And an 11-game hit streak, that's something that Ritter never did in his first and only season at Kentucky, transferred from the JUCO ranks. One ball, 1 strike, no outs, runner on second base. Another curveball, and Ritter keeps the bat on his right shoulder, but does not in agreement of Larry Rosenberg. That was a strike. Ryan Ritter hitting .321 on the year, best average on the team. A ball and 2 strikes for the Kentucky transfer. A runner on second base. Jacobs set at the belt. And the pitch. Another curveball that Ritter jabs at and pokes out of play. Now, Ryan Ritter was drafted by the Chicago Cubs in the 33rd round in 2019, but went straight to JUCO, was likely trying to get drafted after 1 year, but decided that the SEC was his better bet. Played in the Northwoods last summer, hit .259. A ball and 2 strikes. Wyatt Hoffman scurries back to the second base hole. He was shading second, and with Carter Trice leading, and a fastball off the shoulder of Ryan Ritter. So after Jacobs works into a 2-strike count on arguably the best hitter that Cotuit has to offer, he plunks him. The second hit batsman in the past 2 innings for Zach Jacobs. Still no one out, runners on first and second. Here comes Eric Brown, the sophomore from Coastal Carolina. Brown has 3 plate appearances against Jacobs, all of them walks, 2 today and 1 way back in June. Throw over to second, and the diving Carter Trice is safe. The first walk he drew today on 5 pitches in the second resulted in a run. And another walk in the second. It's his first multi-walk game, and it comes on a multi-walk inning. 71-mile-an-hour curve bends in for strike 1. And Eric Brown has a very interesting stance. He basically extends his arms all the way out. No bend at the elbows. About 75%, rather 45-degree angle between his head and his chest. Changeup misses low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Still tied at 5 apiece in the bottom of the fourth inning. A 1-1 count to the righty Eric Brown from Coastal Carolina, with Carter Trice on second base and Ryan Ritter on first. Jacob staring back at Trice, and the 1-1. Chopped left side and fell. Cotuit scored all 5 of their runs in the second. White, he scored all 5 in the first. And the Chanticleer, Eric Brown, hitting .200 with runners in scoring position. He's just 7 for 37 against the East, a .182 on the year. A .271 hitter overall. The 1-2 lifted to deep left field. Tanner Smith takes a few steps to his left and now in to make the catch on his left shoulder. Nice throw over to third to keep Carter Trice on second base. He thought about tagging. But that's the first down on the fly out to left field. Noah Bridges, the right fielder from UNC Wilmington, now digs into the left-handed batter's box. So Jacobs wins that battle on the cleanup hitting Brown. And Bridges, a senior, was 0 for 4 yesterday. Now 0 for his last 6, 0 for 2 on the day. His 14th strikeout of the year in the second, and then later in the second, popped out to first. And went around 3/4 on a check swing on a nice curveball. In the zone, strike one. Bridges played 10 games for Bourne in 2019, hit .200. A .255 career hitter in 4 collegiate seasons for UNC Wilmington. And the 0-1 from Jacobs, another curveball and another big swing and a miss, strike two. Well, Jacobs basically has 2 different types of curveballs. One of them he can throw a little bit harder, that one at 77 miles an hour, but he'll scale it back to as low as 70. Almost works as a pseudo slider. Jacobs comes set, no shimmy this time, balked earlier in the game. The 0-2, fastball outside. So it's a ball and 2 strikes with 1 out. Ryan Ritter was hit by a pitch. He's on first base. Carter Trice led off the 4th with a double. So he's in scoring position with Brooksley, the shortstop, keeping him company on his lead. And the 1-2 is chopped foul right back to us. You could hear it on the microphone by our table. That would have been right by my right ankle had there been no screen. And we're seated about 15 feet behind home plate, maybe a little bit more, but right up against the fence by the backstop. 1 ball, 2 strikes, tied at 5-5 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Jacobs checks back the runner at second, and Carter Trice is safe. So Zach Jacobs getting his fair share of work in. This is his 77th pitch of the day. Starter turned reliever turned starter for YD. The 1-2, cracked right side, right to Hoffman, could be 2. Flip to second, Lee turbos around the relay, not in time. A 4-6 fielder's choice moves up Trice from second to third, and Noah Bridges legs it out. That was almost a fantastic play by one of the best middle infield combos in the league. Wyatt Hoffman and Brooks Lee, and Lee had to field the flip to his left on his glove side and spin around. That spin likely cost him the extra half second he needed. So that puts Bridges on first and Carter Trice on third for Brett Roberts. Roberts is 10 for his last 25, a .400 batting average, and in transit to Florida State. Transferring to Florida State. Taking his talent from Tennessee Tech. Curveball, checked his swing, went around. No balls and 2 strikes after the fastball waist high and then the check swing. And Brooksley, the shortstop, dropped his glove, had to pick it up, was being chirped around by the Kettleers dugout. He gives them a wink of acknowledgement. And Jacobs checks back the runner Bridges at first base. No balls and 2 strikes to Brett Roberts, who doubled off of Jacobs way back when in June. Jacobs' debut. Runner goes from first. The 0-2 outside. The throw down by Huff is way tardy and trickles to shallow center field. That allows Carter Trice to trot home the score. Cody Huff with probably, by the IDAR, the slowest throw that he's ever had from home to second on a stealing runner. Bridges is safe at second. Carter Trice doesn't even have to think twice about scoring, and now Cotuit takes the lead 6-5. That's a bit of a head scratcher when you have a 2-strike count at the plate. Runner goes for third. The 1-2 slap to center field. That gets through for a base hit. Noah Bridges will come around to score, no problem. A 2-out RBI single for Brett Roberts, and in the blink of an eye, Cotuit leads 7-5. It's Roberts' first hit of the day, and Zach Jacobs' day is done. 7 runs allowed against the Cotuit Cavaliers. What else is new? Allowed 7 runs against Cotuit in his debut, and now, for the final time, he walks off the mound the same way he started. 7 runs that Cotuit scrapes up Zach Jacobs for. A new arm coming onto the mound with YD down by 2 in the bottom of the 4th inning with 2 outs. We'll be right back on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. Still the bottom of the 4th inning, but Cotuit leads 7-5 after getting 2 runs on Zach Jacobs here in the 4th. Jacobs can't finish. Enter Eric Yost, the freshman from Northeastern, making his 8th appearance of the season with a 6.94 ERA. He faces Nathan Martorella, a left-handed first baseman from Cal Berkeley, and a first pitch changeup inside ball 1. This is a pretty bad matchup for Eric Yost, at least right now. Yost walked a season-high 3 batters in his last outing, and Martorella, who grounds over to first, walks quite often, not that time. And that retires the side, so 2 pitches for Eric Yost to finish the job in the 4th inning, but not before the Cavaliers get 2 more on 2 hits and leave 2 left on. They lead 7-5 at the end of 4 right here on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. Top of the fifth inning on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. Cotuit 7, YD 5, and a new pitcher on the mound for the Cavaliers. Logan Maitland on in relief from UMass Dartmouth. First pitch fastball way outside to the lefty Briley Knight. Now Maitland with a .75 ERA. This is his 7th appearance, 12 innings pitched on the year. The only run he allowed this year came in his debut against Brewster. Sharply hit ground ball, first base line. It's fielded by the first baseman Martorella. Stumps on the bag in time for the first out. So Briley Knight is retired for the first time today. Had walked and singled. Brings up Crew Robinson 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. Robinson, the left-handed hitting UC San Diego transfer, another 89-mile-an-hour fastball that misses outside and high. And the 1-0 is slapped to right field. Noah Bridges on the run, and he makes the catch for the second out. So Bridges was playing pretty deep, had to really turn on the burners to trot in and make the catch, and made it belt high. So a line out to right field. Crew Robinson now 0 for 3 on the day. And Wyatt Hoffman digs in from the right side with 2 outs, no one on. Logan Maitland's first pitch, a breaking ball in the zone, strike 1. 6'6", 175 pounds. Maitland has a lot of length and then some. And the 0-1 breaking ball in the dirt. Tanner Smith waiting on deck. Wyatt Hoffman 1 for 2 on the day, a single fly out and a walk. The 1-1 to Hoffman. Big swing and a miss for strike 2. Logan Maitland with a pretty interesting delivery. His left front foot kind of steps closer towards first base than it does home. Almost like splitting the difference at a 45-degree angle. Fastball misses outside. Count even at 2-2. And you can see his landing spot is a good 2 feet away from the conventional landing spot of every other pitcher from today. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And the pitch is taken inside for ball. Oh, rather, scratch that. Wyatt Hoffman was hit by the curveball. So Hoffman turns around and preaches his case to the home plate umpire Larry Rosenberg in that same motion and convinces Rosenberg that he was hit by the pitch. His second free pass in his last 2 plate appearances with the walk in the 3rd inning. In his first 2 years at UMass Dartmouth, Logan Maitland with a 3.41 ERA, 31 2/3 innings pitched. Or rather, 2021. 40 strikeouts, 19 walks. 2 outs and a runner on first for Tanner Smith. Fastball, strike 1. Now Tanner Smith has been scorching hot all year, rather recently. He's 12 for his last 24, and over that stretch, he's the 3rd best hitter in the league. Brooks Lee being one of his superiors there, and then Zach Preisner from Harwich. And an outside fastball at 87 miles an hour, 1 ball, 1 strike. Maitland consistently missing arm side, and that might have something to do with his stride foot. He really opens himself up on his delivery. The 1-1. Tanner Smith held up his swing, looked like he wanted to flinch at the pitch. Instead, he takes the breaking ball in the inside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. The senior from UMass Dartmouth deals. The 1-2 is driven to center field. Jace Grady was playing, so YD gets no runs, no hits. Red Sox Baseball Network. D5 in Martorella and retire the side. The use time play on the Derek Yost. 2 balls and a strike. In an opening to miss there by Matthew Donlin. And the 2-2. Swung on, grounded up the middle. Brooks Lee to his left. He kicks it a 1-out base runner for Cotuit. That's typically a play that Brooks Lee makes, but not that time. Especially because that one had him going to his left and the momentum going towards first base. He didn't have to rush much. And we'll see what they rule. It could be an infield single for Grady is Donlin at first base. They do give Donlin an infield single there. That is his second hit of the day and the third time he's reached base. 2 balls and no strikes to the lefty Grady. Make it 2 balls and 1 strike on the fastball that nicks the outside corner. Eric Yost has topped out this year around 93 miles an hour. The radar gun at Lowell Park today reading 89 there. Here's the 2-1. Another fastball misses shin low. 3 balls, 1 strike. So a 1-out single puts Matthew Donlin on first base. Would have been the 4th error of the season for Brooks Lee. Didn't commit an error in his last 21 games at Cal Poly. 3 balls, 1 strike. Eric Yost working from the stretch. Bends in, diving Wyatt Hoffman, and it's fielded by Briley Knight. Donlin over to second, and a 1-out single back-to-back. Donlin and Grady puts runners on first and second for Carter Trice. Jace Grady now 8 for his last 15. One out, runners on first and second. And the 2-hitter Carter Trice showing bunt. It's a Butcher Boy swing. Ground ball sharply hit. Lou gloves it and throws it over to second in time. Zach Lou dived to his left. Wasn't even a ground ball. He caught it in the air and then fired over to second to get Matthew Donlin, a sitting duck, leading off of second base. 5-4 double play, bails Eric Yost out, and that retires the side. But Cotuit still leads 7-5. They come up empty-handed with 2 hits and 1 runner left on. At the end of 5, 7-5, Cotuit leads right here on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. Top of the sixth inning on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. Cotuit in the driver's seat, up 7-5, and Brooks Lee leading off, swinging from the left side against the right-handed pitching senior Logan Maitland. First pitch fastball low and away to Brooks Lee, who is the second hottest hitter in the CCBL, only behind Zach Preisner from Harwich. He's hitting .514 in his last 35 at-bats. Slowly hit ground ball to short, and he's thrown out on a nice play by Ryan Ritter. It was a high throw, but Nathan Martorella was able to keep his right anchor foot on the pillow. And Lee is retired for the second time today. A strikeout and a ground out. That brings up Cody Huff, the right-handed hitting Stanford Cardinal. With one out, no one on, and Cody Huff takes the waist-high fastball for strike one. Now the Red Sox scored all of their 5 runs in the first inning. Since then, they've had 7 base runners stranded. No balls and 2 strikes after the changeup slices the outside corner. Huff hit a grand slam in the first inning. Singled his last time up in the fourth. He's 2 for 3, and the 0-2 misses way low for a ball 1. The command issues might be in part because of his weird delivery. Logan Maitland with that odd landing spot on his left front foot. Here's the 1-2. Grounded, foul. Down the third base line, Cody Huff nearly wrapped the round, but missed by 6 inches left. 45 career appearances in 4 years for UNC Dartmouth, or rather UMass Dartmouth. And Logan Maitland delivers a fastball even though Larry Rosenberg was calling for time. Now, Rosenberg stuck up his hand when Maitland was mid-leg kick and had to do so because a Cotuit Cavalier was in foul ground down the left field line retrieving that foul ball. Was still in play when Maitland was trying to pitch, and it would have been a strike. That one was not, though. 2 balls and 2 strikes after the slider way outside. So now Logan Maitland not happy because he thinks he should have had strike 3. With 1 out, the 2-2 is grounded, rather line to the left side, and a diving Carter Trice at third makes the catch. Very similar play to what we saw Zach Liu do to turn 2 in the last frame and bail out Eric Yost with runners on first and second. But Carter Trice making a great play in the air, and now Chase Luttrell, the left-handed hitting Long Beach State dirtbag, takes the first pitch slider for strike 1. Big wave and a miss, strike 2. The 84-mile-an-hour slider again. Luttrell is 2 for 3, 2 singles. 1 in the first and 1 in the fourth. Struck out, though, between them. Another slider outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Logan Maitland working from the windup. Deep breath and a big kick and pitch. Fastball outside. That one got up to 91 miles an hour. That's the hardest pitch we've seen from Logan Maitland today. Top of the 6th inning, YD down by 2, 7-5, and the 2-2 pitch. Chase Luttrell waits hardy on it, fouls it off the pole above the Cotuit dugout to the left side. It kerplunks over to the infield. So Luttrell digs back in, with Zach Liu waiting on deck. The 2-2. Breaking ball outside. So Chase Luttrell, treading water, works his way back into this at-bat. He's 6 for his last 14 with a 4-game hit streak. And the payoff pitch from Maitland. Foul back. So Logan Maitland relying on the slider to the lefty Luttrell. That one was another slider. Here's the 3-2. Fastball fouled back to the screen, and Chase Luttrell piecing together a great at-bat. coming up on the 8th pitch to Chase Luttrell. Logan Maitland, the war of attrition. The 3-2 popped up mile high. Left side, foul ground by the Cotuit dugout. And Carter Trice makes the catch over his left shoulder. Side retired. YD is sent down in order by the senior Logan Maitland. And in the middle of the 6th, it's the Cotuit Cavaliers 7 and the YD Red Sox 5 right here on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. Back here on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network, bottom of the 6th inning, and Eric Yost antsy to work in his 3rd inning of the day. Bounced fastball on the first pitch to the righty Ryan Ritter, now riding an 11-game hit streak after his 2nd inning single. But Eric Yost got 1 out in the 4th on 2 pitches, a ground out to Nathan Martorella. And Ryan Ritter checked his swing and dropped his bat on the changeup for strike 1. Not exactly sure what happened there. It looked like Ritter actually might have hurt himself on the backswing. But regardless, 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's a fastball that's clocked to deep center field. Briley Knight chasing back. He makes the catch at the track. Oh, Ryan Ritter gave it a ride. The 397 mark was on Knight's tail. Out to dead center field. 1 loud out for the senior from Kentucky. In the bottom of the 6th inning, there's 1 out with YD down by 2, and the first pitch slider to Eric Brown taken for strike 1. And Brown, swinging from the right side, observes the fastball low. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1 fastball. Line drive, center field. Briley Knight can't catch up to that one. He was playing deep, has no choice but to play it on a hop. It's a 1-out single for Eric Brown, and Cotuit is cooking in the bottom of the 6th. That's the first hit of the day for Eric Brown. His 0 for 4 yesterday snapped a 5-game hit streak. Now it's Noah Bridges' turn, swinging from the left side with the infield shaded to double play depth. Brooks Lee at least is playing up the middle, but Wyatt Hoffman with the lefty has no choice but to play true between first and second. So a ground ball up the middle could be tough to turn to with the speedy Noah Bridges at the plate. And Bridges checked his swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Larry Rosenberg says so. Everyone else at Lowell Park disagrees. So no balls and a peculiar strike with 1 out and a runner on first after the single by Eric Brown. In the bottom of the 6th, another slider taken low. And now you can hear the Cotuit fans down the third base and first base line saying that was the exact same swing by Noah Bridges. He checked his swing, but really didn't check his swing, just lowered his shoulder to indicate he was wanting to go. Ground ball right side. Wyatt Hoffman fields it to his left and throws over to first in time for the second out. Nice play by Hoffman to shade to his left. Had to go a good 10 strides, and Kane Hunter, the first baseman, dove over it. Tried to stop it himself, Hoffman backing him up. And Hunter doing his best impression of a warming up football player with an up down to get back up, push-up position, motion to first base. But Eric Brown advances to second. 2 outs, a runner on second for Brett Roberts. And the DH is ahead in the count, 1 ball, no strikes. Roberts had an RBI single in the 4th inning. It was his 16th RBI of the year. Meanwhile, Eric Yost has now logged 6 outs for the YD Red Sox. His record this year is 9 outs, 3 innings pitched. Fastball at the knees, 1 ball and 1 strike. And I mentioned that Noah Bridges had a couple of close calls on him, especially with the check swing that was called a strike. Cotuit's dugout has just been warned by Larry Rosenberg. 1-1 changeup in the dirt. Huff blocks it and keeps the runner Eric Brown put at second base. Makes it 2 balls and 1 strike with 2 outs. Brett Roberts, a junior from Florida State, transferring to Florida State from Tennessee Tech. Eric Yost working from the stretch. Stares in for the sign from Cody Huff, comes set and steps off. With Larry Rosenberg calling for time, granting time to Brett Roberts. The right-handed hitter with his hands close to his right shoulder. Yost looking back at the runner on second. Eric Brown dancing off the bag. The 2-1 takes the outside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. With 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th, Cotuit leads 7-5. The Kettleers scored 2 runs in the 4th and 5 in the 2nd. All of YD's runs coming in the 1st. Here's the 2-2 fastball, swung on and missed, strike 3, got him, low and away fishing. Oh, Yosty is toasty now, has now gotten 7 outs for the Red Sox and strands a runner on base after the single by Eric Brown. At the end of 6, Cotuit 7, YD 5 right here on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. Top of the 7th inning, YD down by 2, 7-5 against the Kettleers. The Red Sox on the road, but here to take you home is Will Connerly.
Thanks, Brad. Here in the 7th, a 7-5 lead for Cotuit, and Zach Liu leading things off for the Red Sox. Here against the right-hander. First pitch taken for strike 1 from Zach Liu at 90 miles per hour. He's 0 for 3 yesterday riding back-to-back multi-hit performances coming into this contest, but now behind 0-2 in the count. And Lou popped up left side, but the play made at third by Carter Trice, and that's the first out here in the top of the 7th. So Maitland now has thrown 2 1/3, scoreless out of the bullpen. It's been pretty solid, but that's been the story for the right-hander all season long. The long, lengthy right-hander is just lowering his .75 ERA. Now with 14 1/3 tossed this summer and 16 strikeouts, facing the red-hot Cade Hunter, who has 2 hits today, including a double. And 6 for his last 15 at the plate, and the left-handed hitting first baseman in a 2-ball, 1-strike count with 1 out. And nobody on here in the 7th. 10 hits for Cotuit today on 7 runs, 9 hits on 5 runs for the Red Sox, all of which came in the top of the first. Maitland out of the wind, ball 4 taken outside, and Cade Hunter reaches first base. That brings up Briley Knight, who had an RBI single in the first and has been retired his last 2 at-bats, 1 for 3. But Cade Hunter getting aboard for a 3rd time today. Really refreshing and nice to see the Virginia Tech product really start to figure it out toward the end of this summer. Drawing walks is also a part of his game that wasn't really in the equation for Mr. Hunter at the beginning of the season, and the hits in the form of extra bases coming around as well. Popped up left side, foul territory, and there making a diving play is Matthew Suggs as he slides down on one knee to make the catch in foul territory. Briley Knight thought he just hit a regular foul ball at first, and then it's a sprinting Matthew Suggs. So the cardio, it's useful because it does get 1 out there, and now 2 away in the frame. I mean, Suggs, he was playing a far way away there. I mean, with the left-handed hitter Briley Knight, he was shaded a little over, still sprinted to make the play. It did have some good hang time on that foul ball, but a really nice play as a pinch hitter now hitting Drew Bowser. So Crew Robinson has checked out, and Bowser comes in. He's pinch hitting in the 9th spot in the order. Robinson was the designated hitter and was 0 for 3 with a strikeout. But Drew Bowser coming here in the 7th, hitting 185 on the season with 1 home run and 4 runs driven in. The 3rd baseman out of Stanford. Maitland's first pitch upstairs for ball 1. Here with 2 outs and 1 runner aboard in Cade Hunter, who drew a free pass. But 10 hits today for Cotuit. They now have had in 2 meetings 28 hits against the Red Sox as Drew Bowser lines a single to left field, and it rolls into the glove of Matthew Suggs. A 2-out knock off the bench for Drew Bowser. And now runners on first and second for the top of the order, Wyatt Hoffman. But a mound visit in store as Whitey is trailing by 2 runs here in the top of the 7th, looking to make some noise. Maitland's gone 2 2/3 thus far out of the bullpen and has provided some relief for Cotuit. But the Red Sox, they've been shut out ever since that 5-run first, but Drew Bowser with the single warrants some conversation on the mound with the middle infield, and the Red Sox with the top of the order up in 2 outs. Time for a change, so we'll tell you about that next on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. Back with you on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network, and Wyatt Hoffman hitting here in the top of the 7th. But a pitching change made after Logan Maitland went 2 2/3. He's now thrown 12 straight scoreless innings out of the bullpen for Cotuit. But they call on the right-hander from Eastern Michigan, Zachary Fruit. And the first pitch taken for strike one, an off-speed pitch to Wyatt Hoffman. Hitting here with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. And runners on first and second. Cade Hunter drew a walk. He's on second. And Drew Bowser had a single off the bench. He's on first. Hoffman waves through a breaking ball again, and nothing into the count here with 2 outs. In the top of the 7th, YD trailing by 2 runs, but they've got 2 runners on the base paths now. Against Zachary Fruit, the 6'4", 210-pound right-handed pitcher from Eastern Michigan. And Hoffman goes down on 3 pitches. Fruit goes to 3 off-speed pitches to make work of Wyatt Hoffman. And 2 runners left on the base paths for the Red Sox in the top of the 7th. Stretch time here at Lowell Park. A 7-5 lead for Cotuit on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. Back with you here for the bottom of the 7th, and Jarrett Godman now pitching for the Red Sox. He's a right-hander from Oklahoma, making his 10th appearance for the Red Sox this season, all of which have come out of the bullpen with a 4.86 ERA. And he faces 7, 8, and 9 in the Cotuit order. But this spot in the order has accumulated 4 hits, 4 of the 10 Kettleer hits, coming from the 7 through 9 slot, the bottom of the order. And Godman's first 2 pitches misfire, that one toward the backstop, and 2 balls and no strikes to Martorella, who has hits in 6 of his past 7 games after his RBI double in the second. A foul ball straight down. So 2 balls and a strike, 93 miles per hour on the radar gun from Jarrett Godman. His most recent outing went 2/3 of an inning and surrendered 2 earned runs and 3 hits at Bourne on July 28th. And that ball hammered right side past a diving Cade Hunter. He went airborne trying to get that one, but it trickles into right field into the glove of Chase Luttrell. And a single for Martorella that brings up Matt Suggs, the left fielder. He's 1 for 2 today. Reached twice, a single, a run scored, and a run driven in on that single in the second inning. And it's been a tale of 2 5-run innings toward the beginning of this ballgame. The top of the first, YD scored 5, but Cotuit answered and scored 5 in the bottom of the second. That ball chopped left side. Zach Liu trying to wait if it's going to go foul, and eventually it does. Curl into foul territory, and the Cal State Fullerton third baseman picks it up with his glove. So 0-1 the count after the foul ball by Matt Suggs, the left fielder. However, YD scoring 5 in the top of the first. The game is tied in the bottom of the second. But then Cotuit tacks on 2 more runs in the bottom of the fourth, and that's where we stand now in the bottom of the seventh. A 7-5 lead in favor of Cotuit as YD calls on Jarrett Godman out of the bullpen to work in the seventh. Bunt right side into the glove of Jarrett Godman, but nobody covering. Wyatt Hoffman was scurrying over. The bunt was dropped down to the right side by Suggs, and Wyatt Hoffman was making his way over to first as the first baseman Cade Hunter was crashing. It was gloved by Jarrett Godman, but he had no one to throw it to as Wyatt Hoffman wasn't there in time, and Matt Suggs has a bunt single. So runners on first and second after back-to-back singles in this frame. And Godman now facing Donlin, who thinks about bunting, pulls it back, and takes strike 1. Donlin 8 for his past 15 after he hit a single in the fifth, hitting here in the bottom of the seventh. Cotuit leading by 2 runs, a dozen hits for the Kettleers today. And the failed bunt attempt, now 0-2 the count as Donlin missed. Suggs at first and second, and nobody out. And the Red Sox reliever Godman fires the pitch, but it's bunted to foul territory. So Donlin goes down after the third strike is a bunt, and he's out. With 2 strikes, you cannot bunt it into foul territory. And it's Donlin who just bunts it straight back, aiming for a breaking ball that was likely to be called a ball if he did pull the bunt back. But it bunts back to the screen. He's out, 1 gone. And Jace Grady now hitting. He's been on a tear. 2 hits today. And he's 15 for his last 31 at the plate. A .483 average, one of the best marks in the league during that span. Of course, behind YD's own Brooks Lee and Tanner Smith atop the what have you done over the last 7 days category. The runners on first and second, bottom of the seventh, and Jarrett Godman trying to keep the deficit at 2 runs. 0-1 the count. The pitch, breaking ball low. Cody Huff scoots over and blocks it to his right after the inside breaking ball on the left-handed hitting Jace Grady. But Jace Grady, it's not just what he's done lately. He's been pretty good his whole time as a Kettleer, hitting .333 for the 17-17-8 Kettleers who are headed towards postseason play. They'll face Bourne at Bourne on Friday, and then at Cotuit the next day. And if necessary, back at Bourne as that ball is smacked up the middle to Briley Knight, but held up at third is Nathan Martorella, so the bases are loaded. 3 hits off Jarrett Godman here in the bottom of the seventh. It's his 3rd consecutive outing where he's allowed 3 hits out of the bullpen as Godman getting touched up here. That was a smacked line drive by Jace Grady up the middle, and he has a 3-hit day. 16 for his last 32 at the plate. He continues to produce at a high level, and when you look at the landscape of the Cotuit lineup, they're all really producing right now. A lot of the Kettleers have swung the bat well lately, and you can't win 5 games in a row after that streak was snapped last game against Bourne without having guys swing the bat extremely well. And that's the way that they've won, as the first pitch is upstairs and inside to Carter Trice. McGrady, a 3 for 5 day. But the hits, they haven't been hard to come by for Cotuit. 13 hits today, leading by 2, and they have the bases loaded and 1 out. Here in the bottom of the 7th, fastball at 94 taken for strike 1 as the count evens up. Here to Carter Trice, bases loaded, bottom of the 7th, and Cotuit trying to add on to their lead just with 1 out in the frame. Godman comes set, the 1-1. And that ball smacked foul. Looked like Carter Trice was ready for a fastball, but a little too eager as he belted it way out of play. Yanked it, pulled it, was way ahead of it. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, bases loaded. And Godman, important pitch here, ahead 1-2 in the count. The pitch misses low, changeup from Godman. Count back even at 2-2. The right-hander out of Oklahoma, potentially the last time we see him on the mound. Not potentially, likely the last time we see him on the mound here in this outing. Seldom do YD relievers go back-to-back. That ball smacked to Brooksley at short. He bobbles it, but then flips it to Wyatt Hoffman. They do get the runner at second, but 1 run comes across to score in the form of Nathan Martorella. And now it's an 8-5 lead for Cotuit with 2 outs here in the 7th and runners on the corners. As Brooksley, the 6'4 fielder's choice, allows Carter Trice to advance. And Grady is off the base paths. However, you've got Trice at first. You've got Suggs over at third. You've got Ryan Ritter, who's riding an 11-game hitting streak. He's been aboard twice today. At the plate with runners on the corners and 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. So 1 more across for Cotuit. They lead by 3. But Ritter, who's hitting .322 on the season, 11-game hit streak. Now after his knock in the 2nd. But YD, they've been hurt by their defense today. That ball hit up the middle, and it's down. An RBI knock, a 2-hit day for Ryan Ritter, and now Cotuit leads 9-5 after the single to center field by Ryan Ritter. Here in the bottom of the 7th with 2 outs, a 2-out RBI base hit for Ryan Ritter to drive in Suggs, and the line continues down to Eric Brown with runners on first and second and 2 outs here in the 7th. That ball hit left side, first pitch swinging Eric Brown. It's down in left field by the left field line. Tanner Smith comes to get it, but not before another run comes across to score. A double by Eric Brown, and that drives in another in the form of Carter Trice, who reached on the fielder's choice, and Ritter moves up to third. Brown is on second, and Cotuit in business up by 5 here in the bottom of the 7th. And the line continues down to Noah Bridges. I mean, this is similar scenes to what Cotuit did to the Red Sox at Red Wilson Field in the team's first meeting of the season. That's the only prior meeting the two teams had before today's game. It was a 16-5 victory for Cotuit. A swing and a miss. First pitch from Godman to Noah Bridges, who's reached once and scored today on a fielder's choice. And while the deficit isn't the same, the production on the offensive end pretty similar. 18 hits for Cotuit in the first meeting between the two teams, as Bridges does go around on the attempt. Nothing into the count. Here with 2 outs and runners on second and third. But Cotuit now with 33 hits against the Red Sox just now in the second meeting in the bottom of the 7th. A 10-5 lead for Cotuit. And strike three is called. So Jarrett Godman does get out of the jam. Cotuit strands two runners as Noah Bridges is rung up, but not before they clap for a big three-run frame, and they lead by 5. 15 hits on the day for Cotuit, and they are in control as we send it to the 8th on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. Back with you on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network here in the top of the 8th. And Cotuit added 3 more runs. They've now scored 10 unanswered runs, and they lead 10-5 here in the top of the 8th. And Tanner Smith, Brooks Lee, Cody Huff, 2, 3, and 4 scheduled to hit for the Red Sox here in the top of the 8th. So it's go time for YD with the meat of the order up. They want to make a comeback in this one. Tanner Smith, right guy to do it. He takes a strike inside on a breaking ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Does have a single today. He singled in the first and reached in the second. Now on a 9-game hitting streak, where over the past week he's hitting nearly 500, the 3rd best mark in the league, behind his teammate in the on-deck circle, Brooks Lee and Zach Preisner. And the 2-1, Tanner Smith hits it hard left side, back on it in left field, though, is Matthew Suggs, and he makes the play, just backpedaling a few steps to retire Tanner Smith. 3 balls in the air caught by outfielders today by Tanner Smith for his outs. 2 to left, 1 to center, and he's retired. That brings up Brooks Lee. Lee walked in the first, was hit by a pitch in the second, struck out in the 4th, and grounded out in the 6th. First pitch he takes here in the top of the 8th is a changeup for strike 1. 0-1 the count with 1 out. Nobody on here in the 8th. YD down by 5. And Brooks Lee grounded right side. Martorella has it. A flip over to first and in time for the 2nd out. That brings up Cody Huff. As Zachary Fruit in relief of Maitland. First pitch misses outside to Cody Huff. Came in to finish last inning after Bowser had a single, but he came in and he retired Wyatt Hoffman on 3 consecutive pitches out of the bullpen, the right-hander from Eastern Michigan University. And then he's retired Tanner Smith and now Brooks Lee after he made his way over to first base and got the flip from Martorella. Here in the top of the 8th, the 2-ball, 1-strike count to Cody Huff. The 5th pitcher used today for Cotuit is Fruit. Fires in a strike to Cody Huff. Count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. who has now completed 1 inning of work after recording 2 outs here in the top of the 8th and finishing the top of the 7th. The 2-2 to Cody Huff. Breaking ball misses low. But it's the 12th appearance of the year for Zachary Fruit. He did start 1 game and has 1 save as well, with a 4.62 ERA through an inning and a third with 2 earned against Falmouth on August 1st. And pitch inside to Cody Huff. He reaches on the free pass. So the Stanford catcher gets aboard. And Zach Fruit, he came to Eastern Michigan by way of Lansing Community College. He's from Dundee, Michigan, so he's been a Michigan guy through and through and kept his talents within the state after spending 2 years at Lansing Community College. However, just 1 full campaign. As we all know, the 2020 season was cut short for the relief pitcher. But had some good stuff, in Eastern Michigan wanted him to come their way as Chase Luttrell swings through the second offering for strike 1. Count evens at a ball and a strike. Here with the runner on first base, Cody Huff being held by Martorella, and Fruit kicks and delivers, misses outside, 2 balls and a strike. To Chase Luttrell, who's swung the bat well as of late, 2 hits today, now on a 4-game hitting streak. And Fruit kicks and delivers, foul back. But Fruit primarily used in short situations. Here's bullpen, but the 2-2-2 Luttrell, it's popped up left side in foul territory. Suggs is running to get this one, but it's out of play. By the way, that Suggs was able to make that diving play in the 7th. You wonder that left fielder has pretty good range after sliding in foul territory to retire Briley Knight. But Luttrell out of play there and staying alive. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Cody Huff the runner at first, and Fruit kicks and delivers the pitch. Chase Luttrell breaks his bat, grounded to Trice at third, and over to first. Chase Luttrell able to get there in time as the ball was dislodged from the first baseman of Nathan Martorella. Luttrell is safe at first, and Cody Huff, with great heads-up base running, advances all the way to third base. So you've got runners on the corners, with Huff, of course, running because there's 2 outs, but continuing to run hard to advance to the other corner at third base. And so you've got runners on the corners with 2 outs in the top of the 8th for Zach Liu, with YD trailing by 5 runs, and first pitch is taken for strike 1 at 91 miles per hour from Zach Liu, the third baseman for the Red Sox. Next pitch hits the plate and then scoots away from Donlin, but Cody Huff stays put at third. However, Chase Luttrell advances to second base. So you've got runners on second and third for Zach Liu. Zach Liu trying to come through for the Red Sox toward the latter stages of the ball game. He has done that before. Had the go-ahead runs driven in against Orleans, a part of a 5-run frame when YD came back against Kelly Nicholson's squad. Different situation here, though. YD down by 5. Zach Liu pops this one up to the right side. Back on it in right field is Bridges, and he's able to make the play in deep right field. So the side is retired here in the 8th. 2 left on for the Red Sox, and in the middle of 8, YD down by 5 on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. Back with you on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network, and a new arm into the ball game for the newest YD Red Sox, Terry Murray. And Terry Murray, the right-hander at 6'4", 205 out of Rhode Island College. Played 2 seasons at Rhode Island, just 7 innings in his freshman campaign, but in his second freshman season at Rhode Island this past spring threw 42 2/3, but in the PGCBL for Mohawk Valley threw 30 innings and just had a 1.50 ERA, threw the ball very effectively, and he's the second pitcher to come from the Diamond Dogs of Mohawk Valley to the YD Red Sox. Sam Beck did the same thing, who's now on hiatus, but a little pipeline between those two teams. But he threw the ball really effectively, has already thrown 30 innings this summer, but coming here in the penultimate game of the season and making his debut for the Red Sox, Terry Murray, the right-hander from Rhode Island. And 2 balls, no strikes here to begin his career as a YD Red Sox. Brett Roberts swings through the 2-0 pitch. And it's maybe a struggle to say career. It's going to be very short-lived for this right-hander, maybe just an inning or 2 on the mound for the Red Sox. But swing and a miss on the 85-mile-per-hour pitch from the right-hander. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes. But Terry Murray threw 42 2/3 this past spring, and then add another 30 this summer before pitching here. So he's gotten a big workload this past year on his right arm. From Norfolk, Mass, so someone who's not too difficult for him to come over and get to the Cape. Popped up right side, and then Wyatt Hoffman calling off Cody Huff and making the catch in foul territory for the first out. And while you did get the out there, it was interesting the communication that was going on between Cody Huff and Wyatt Hoffman, because of the fact that Cody Huff was camped under it, and then Wyatt Hoffman said, no, I'm going to get that. And what I mean by it's pretty easy for the right-hander to come to the Cape and say, okay, it's just an outing for the right-hander, is he's only about an hour and 15 minutes away from South Yarmouth at Reb Wilson Field, and even closer playing here at Cotuit. That ball hit right side, and it's down. Martorella eyeing his 3rd hit of the day and his 2nd double, a stand-up 1-out double here in the 8th. And Nathan Martorella continuing to hit. He has hits in 6 of his past 7 games, really putting together a good performance today. 3 hits, including 2 doubles. He's now 3 for 5 on second base. And Terry Murray now having to work with runner in scoring position here in his YD Red Sox debut. In the bottom of the 8th, Cotuit leading by 5, but threatening once again. Matt Suggs, the left fielder, he has 2 hits and has reached 3 times. But Cotuit, we visited this case when YD and Cotuit met the first time. They put up 16 runs and 18 hits. They have 10 hits, or 10 runs on 16 hits here in this meeting. And the 2 teams will clash at Red Wilson Field for the regular season finale tomorrow at 4:30. Won't be the finale, though, of the season for Cotuit. They're headed to the playoffs. And they got that final surge. They were battling with Wareham and Falmouth after Bourne had clinched. But they rattled off 5 victories in a row. They played their best baseball of the year when they needed to. And the right-hander breaking ball misses low as Cade Hunter is able to make the play on it. And we mentioned that listening at home on the first out of this inning, caught by Wyatt Hoffman, although in foul territory, that Cody Huff was parked under. Yeah, he moved over to first base. And Cade Hunter went behind the plate. Breaking ball low. Mentioned Cade Hunter, not really accustomed to playing a ton of first base. 2 errors committed, one in part of Hunter's, you could say, lack of experience over at the first base bag. And Zach Jacobs, who surrendered 7 runs, only 4 were earned after YD committed 2 errors in the 5-run inning for Cotuit. The 3-1 popped up, foul, and out of play, so count is now full. Here to Matt Suggs after the double by Nathan Martorella, his second of the day. Martorella showcasing his power to the right side today, really putting good swings together and starting to turn it on as of late. He has 4 doubles on the season, 2 of which come today. Ball 4 to Matt Suggs on the full count offering, so runners on first and second. Before Martorella, he just has the 4 doubles on the season, 2 of which come today, and his most recent double came in early July against Chatham. The Cal Berkeley outfielder on second. Matt Suggs drawing the walk, he's on first, and Matthew Donlin, who has 2 hits today at the plate. 2 for 4, taking the strike. Low on the inside corner at the knees, nothing in 1 the count. No balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Runners on first and second. And the delivery popped up right side and out of play. So no balls and 2 strikes with 1 out. Runners on first and second. Donlin at the plate. 8 for his past 16. Big deep breath. And the pitch, it's just fought off by Donlin. With Trey Murray, the Rhode Island right-hander, working on the mound. Here in the bottom of the 8th, 16 hits and 10 runs for Cotuit. Murray comes set. Kicks, delivers the pitch, misses outside. And Cotuit scoring 10 runs. In their previous 3 games before losing to Bourne yesterday, they had scored 12 runs against Falmouth, 16 runs against Falmouth, and then another 12 runs. The 3rd time they've been in double digits in the past 4 games as Briley Knight makes a play in center field after Donlin hits it out there and throws it over to third. Martorella wasn't tagging. Nice throw from the outfielder Briley Knight, and now there's 2 outs. And while Bourne, who is going to meet Cotuit on Friday, and they just met yesterday before they meet in the playoffs and did have that dominant 13-1 win, the way the Kettleer offense has been trending has been really solid. When you can score 10 or more runs in 3 of your past 4 games, with the lone outlier being a 13-1 loss coming yesterday, you see that their offense has really been on a tear. And the Big Bad Bourne Braves may have their hands full. It should be a good matchup on both sides. Of course, Brewster and Harwich on the eastern side, and you have Bourne and Cotuit in the Western Division playoffs, and the winners will collide in the championship series. Grounded right side by Grady, and he is retired. A 3-hit day for Jace Grady, but doesn't come through here in the 8th. A couple stranded for the Kettleers, but 10 runs on 16 hits thus far, and they will try to shut the door. They have a 5-run advantage here as we send it to the 9th, next on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network. Back with you on the YD Red Sox Baseball Network alongside Brad Klein. I'm Will Connerly. And the last chance for the Red Sox coming here in the ninth, and they'll have to do it against Will Jacobson. He's a right-hander out of Harvard from San Francisco, and then took his talents across the country to Harvard for collegiate play, making his 8th appearance of the year. And first pitch, a strike to Cade Hunter. And now Brad, this potentially could be the last inning of the year for the Red Sox. I mean, we don't know. And of course, speculating our inner meteorologist, looking at, some chance of rain tomorrow. Popped up left side. And there to make the play in foul territory is Matthew Suggs, one gone. And while we don't know what it's going to happen, of course, there is a percentage of chance of rain that causes some concern about the game tomorrow, and that was some lingering even before this game. Could this potentially be the swan song for the YD Red Sox this year?
Yeah, and the disappointing thing is that YD is playing some of the best baseball they've played this season, and had it not been for the pandemic, it would still be top 4 teams in each division make the playoffs, and YD would very much be in it.
Riley Knight hits it left side, bounces a couple times into the glove of Matthew Suggs, but a 2-hit day for Riley Knight. And that moves the line to Drew Bowser with 1 out and 1 aboard here in the ninth. And you talk about the better baseball they've played, and not only because the pandemic in terms of they have bigger playoffs, but also in terms of you wonder about what those ties would have been with the new rules, what the makeups could have been as well.
And there's nothing you can do about those, but you think about what this team would be in any other year. They'd be a playoff team playing really well going into the playoffs, and that's really all you need to be. You don't need to be the number 1 team in the CCBL like Bourne, who's blowing a lot of teams out early in the season, and now they're tapering off and limping into the playoffs. That doesn't have to be you. You just have to be playing really well at the right time. And that's exactly what YD is doing. Unfortunately, they dug themselves too big a hole earlier in the year.
And Drew Bowser takes a strike on the outside black. Jacobson trying to shut the door. Does have a save this year, but of course this is not a save situation, but he has gotten the job done per se in the ninth. His job right here, protect a 5-run lead for Cotuit. Looking to conceal a victory as Drew Bowser takes the 95-mile-per-hour fastball on the outside black to Drew Bowser, who came off the bench in the 7th and had a knock. Pinch hitting for Crew Robinson, now hitting here in the ninth. 2 balls and a strike, 1 out and 1 aboard after the Riley Knight hit. And Bowser swings through the high fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Riley Knight on a 3-game hitting streak, but a multi-hit game for him. It's his first multi-hit game since the 2nd game of the season. Riley Knight aboard on first base, and Bowser takes a low fastball. Now count is full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. But how about that about Riley Knight? His 31st game, but 2nd multi-hit game. And throw down, strike him out of Drew Bowser. No throw him out as Riley Knight is able to swipe second. Knight as Bowser strikes out, and there's 2 away. Now Wyatt Hoffman in first pitch, fouls back right side. With a run scored today, a walk and a strikeout. Average at 272. Was named a Cape League All-Star this year. Along with Cody Huff in the field and Luis Ramirez, CJ Culpepper, and Reed McLaughlin on the pitching staff. So breaking ball taken for strike 2, and YD down to its final strike.
Potentially of the season, depending on the weather for tomorrow.
So Jacobson comes set. Hoffman at the plate, the 0-2. He stays alive.
A lot of heat coming off the arm of Will Jacobson through earlier in the NECBL for Martha's Vineyard this summer.
And fouled away, and we've seen that fastball get up to 95, 96 miles per hour in this inning. Does have some good heat coming from Harvard, and he's pitched a lot this summer, but 8 appearances here, plus playing with Martha's Vineyard. He wants to get as much work as he can. We've seen that with the Ivy League players around the league.
That was a dangerous fastball, high and tight, 95. It's getting dark here.
1-2, misses low at 94. Count evens. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And you could tell based on Hoffman's body language, the way he took a deep exhale, that was scary for him.
Yes, and always scary when the heat comes high and tight. 2-2, the pitch from Jacobson. Hoffman staying tough, fouls it away left side. It's already hard enough to see good pitching, hard pitching, and scary enough, but when it gets dark and the visibility decreases, it becomes even more of a factor.
And it appears faster because the ball will jump in the darkness too.
2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Misses low, and Wyatt Hoffman thought he had a free pass, flips the bat to the on-deck circle, and then has a little chuckle with Tanner Smith saying, nah, that's just ball 3. He probably wanted it to be ball 4, but
and get me out of this batter's box. He's afraid of the 95, high and tight. You can't blame him.
I'd be afraid, that's for sure. 3 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Jacobson kicks, and Hoffman, well, he stays alive. And any inherent fear that he might have, he's still fighting tough here against Jacobson, putting together a long at-bat against the hard-throwing right-hander from Harvard. As we await on the 9th pitch coming up of the at-bat here to Wyatt Hoffman. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. YD down to its final strike. The pitch, Hoffman fouls it away. And we will have a 10th pitch here in this at-bat as Will Jacobson, he should know that the 27th out could be the hardest one to get. And a little anecdotal evidence, a 10-pitch at-bat here from Wyatt Hoffman. Full count, 2 strikes and 2 outs. The pitch popped up. This should do it. Grady under it in center field. He makes the play, and Jacobs closes the door in the 9th. A 10-5 lead for Cotuit in this one. YD drops. Their 4-game win streak is snapped, and Cotuit back in the winning column. Tomorrow, the 2 teams will collide at Red Wilson Field for the season finale, but a wrap here in this one. Cotuit 10, YD 5, a final score.
Yeah, and it really seemed like the Red Sox were going to be all over this game with 5 runs in the first inning. And then in the second, Zach Jacobs gives up 5 of his own. And that's when you knew it was going to be a good ball game, and Cotuit just would not let up. 10 unanswered runs to just take the game. An incredible performance by Cotuit, not to lay down, not to take the L. When they've already clinched the playoffs, when they have YD tomorrow, it would have been easy to say, oh, well, we'll get him next time. Hopefully our starter gives us a better start tomorrow.
But they put together good at-bats down the stretch the rest of the game. And YD, they're shut out after the first inning. They fall in this one 10-5. Scott Pickler and company fall in this one by 5 runs after going ahead 5-0 in the first, as you detailed. But a final here from Cotuit. And we thank you for listening to us wire to wire today. 10 runs on 16 hits for Cotuit and 2 errors, 5 runs, 11 hits, and 2 errors for the Red Sox. So be back with us tomorrow. Watch the stream how you're watching now on YouTube tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. at Red Wilson Field. The season finale against Cotuit coming up tomorrow. We'll see you then. For Brad Klein, I'm Will Connerly, and so long from Lowell Park.